What is up, everybody? My name is Verdict and thank you so much for stopping by. Last year we did a Succession Mystic guide which became one of the most viewed guides onto the platform, and I would like to thank you guys so much for this. This year, however, we are kind of halfway to 2023 and recently Awakening Mystic buffs finally arrived. And what better way to celebrate than to actually release an Awakening Mystic 2023 guide post Land of the Morning Light, so we have everything onto the board. And with that said, guys, I will accompany you with nothing but my voice. I hope you guys enjoy, and I earn your subscription by the end of the video. So let's give it a go. Before we start playing Awakening Mystic, we really need to understand what she is. Awakening Mystic is a melee range spec that fills the purpose of a Disruptor class. She has one of the best CCs in the entire game and arguably the best health return from her abilities. Pair that with her amazing movement and attack/casting speed slows, and you have a bruiser/tank that will be extremely annoying to deal with in the PvP scene, and stays incredibly healthy in PvE. Speaking of PvP, Awakening is known to have one of the worst damage and is played as a tank almost exclusively outside of Arena of Solare. But this is a PvE guide and I'm not as qualified in the PvP scene as I am in the PvE scene. We'll just do a couple of PvP mentions here and there. If you'd like to learn Awakening PvP, I'd highly suggest you to check the Mystic/Striker Discord into the description below, where the best players dwell, or check one of my friends Travesty, whose combos and knowledge of Awakening will leave you in an awe. Making and gearing your Awakening Mystic. With Land of Morning Light, things changed dramatically in terms of itemization. I will take you along the PvE route and do a mention or two in PvP in general. Mystic is an evasion class, but you will hear here and there that there are a few players that play it in DR, but please be warned that it's highly not recommended to go the DR route. We have a 10% base evasion buff, 9% from Rapid Stream, and also 15 DP from Sea Burial. The general rule of thumb for Mystic players is to switch to evasion pieces when you start upgrading to Pan boss gear. That would be Muskans and Leapers. The gloves will be converted later for the Evasion Dawn's glove armor piece. You want to make sure for PvE that you run with the Black Star main and Awakening weapon. Awakening Mystic, even after the recent changes, is not top tier. Maximizing your PvE output is really important. Let's try to do this right. It doesn't matter where you start with your PvE progression or what gear you currently have. We should not care about that. What we need is to get to this example piece, and it's up to you to calculate the price of these upgrades, where you're at currently with your gear, and make a conscious decision on what to upgrade next. You will need Griffin, Red Nose, Leapers, and Muskan armor pieces, all at Pen, preferably at C4 to start off with the tankiness. Crescent Rings at Tet or Kaposha at Pen, which are similar in range. The cups for these in PvE are obvious. Use the 3% crit damage ones. In PvP, you can use the health ones. Ogre and Leighton on Tet or Kaposha Pen with the HP cup, which is the only available one. Now onto the Kutum offhand, it's always the best choice. You use this in PvP also. Stay away from Black Star offhands. You'll probably do this upgrade after you pen Deborika, and yeah, that is that far away. Don't put any Capras in that yet. Save these for whenever you need to hit specific brackets. Black Star, Tet, Main Hand, and Awakening are the most important pieces in the entire set. I love going Tungrat Belt personally. It's a niche item that helps you with the 100% Black Spirit Rage overflow and eases up its use. Not to mention that we will like to have one once we get above 700 gear score. The +3 AP on the cup to maximize your PvE damage, and the DR to maximize your PvP defensives. 2 distortions on Tet will be the hardest things for you to obtain for this build, as they are the most expensive, but you will need to do them inevitably. I highly recommend you to do these after you're done with your main hand and Awakening at Tet Blackstar, as they will yield more damage. Arboreal enchant for these, as it's the only available one for now. Vel's Heart, which we will keep on without any upgrades until you start reaching 700 gear score. Garmot's Heart will be a pain and a half. Don't miss a kill even if you miss dinner. Place orders on that thing and put your first in Awakening weapon so you can unlock the 2 extra crystal slots. For artifacts, as a beginner at Awakening, it's simply the Wild with Monster AP for PvE. Make sure you finish all of your journals with the exception of Pavino Greco, so you get all of your AP and DP plus accuracy, etc. I know it's a chore, but hey, we have to do it nevertheless. For crystals, it's going to be quite interesting. I won't really suggest you to invest into crystals worth billions, but overall try to move onto the offensive side based on what you currently need. For accuracy, Elcars, Gin Vipers, 4 times crystals of power for AP, etc, etc. Corrupted black crystals are something absolutely mandatory for the crit damage. Once you start getting more comfortable with your Mystic, you can invest into the Land of the Morning Light crystals like Decimation, Girin. As an Evasion player in PvE, Harpias are not really required as they will drag your offense back. Let's talk a little bit about PvP gearing. For tier 1 and tier 2 node wars, the up above example will work quite well. Just make sure you have the HP artifact and incite any form of special attack damage or evasion based on your needs. HP is an important stat, so Pavino Greco journal might be essential. Make sure to check on what the caps are and to maneuver your gear accordingly. The special attack evasion crystals do a miracle for tier 1 and tier 2. Gearing for evasion is a late game thing exclusively, and in general the evasion builds are the hardest in the game to make work, and you sacrifice stupid amounts of offense for defense. But once you are above 750 and 720 gear score, you can really start working on reaching 1.2k plus evasion with crystals and gear, which will work in most cases. Here's the abilities from pre-awakening which we have to lock for PvE that will save us a lot of time. Most of these are very bad, quite useless even, and we want to really lock ourselves into awakening without something accidentally getting us out into the pre-awakening state that will cost us damage. A list of the skill enhancements, and that aside, put on your hotkey the Magna skill, Hurricane Kick, Raging Wolf, Dragon Pith, and the Infinite Fortitude ability. Let's talk about some special abilities for the Mystic so you guys can start grasping the class. Mystic loves her buffs more than any other class, especially the attack speed ones. They are definitive for the class. Our Crouching Wolf ability used during 3 shards give us 20% attack speed. Add-ons can give up to 10% additional attack speed based on their tier. We have an accuracy buff that occurs on the second hit of mass destruction. Spiral Torpedo grants us 16 AP and Rapid Stream for minus 20 DP onto the target. Rising Dragon on 3 shards will automatically return 2 back, speeding you up. These are very important things to notice. These are also the most often used Awakening Mystic add-ons. Give them a copy and let's whack at some dummies onto the battle arena. After the recent changes to Awakening, things are looking just slightly different in terms of rotations, but to go over a little bit of the basic stuff. A great way to start your rotation is with 2 hits of Rapid Stream and 3 of Tidal Burst. Press your Crouching Wolf straight after to get a huge portion of your buffs out. Overflow of Martial Spirit shards is not a huge issue, especially into the early game of grasping the class. Rising Dragon afterwards, Spiral Torpedo, Dragon Strike into a Wave Warp, Earth Splatter into a Raging Wind into Gushing Waters. Finish with a Hurricane Sweep, 3 shard spam, and unload with Sea Burl. This is a very basic rotation that you can use, and it's rather effective. Now, a few situational tips. You can cast Wave Orb out of Gushing Waters now, which is great. Rising Dragon into Dragon Strike into Gushing Waters and Wave Orb for a really nice burst. Tidal Burst, Rapid Stream, and Hurricane Sweep are all spammables with the best damage coming out of Tidal Burst even on its cooldown. It's great on orcs with the Elvia weapon. Just a tip. For our core in PvE, it's best to take Tidal Burst forward guard, but I personally play with Spiral Torpedo as I'm already tanky for the PvE and will help me a lot better in the DFS situation and of course unfortunate CCs onto the PvE spots. If you feel like you need the accuracy buff from Nature's Wrath Rebomb and evasion debuff from Thunder Pound, use Nature's Wrath. Follow up with Thunder Pound, Hurricane Kick, Gushing Waters to get yourself an Awakening Earth Splatter into a Wave Orb. Our 100% ability onto the side hits like the entirety of our burst for its cast time, which means that you should always use it on tougher mobs. But of course, feel free to press the Z buff if you feel like it's really an overkill. Alright, so let's mention here the class's effectiveness as a little bit of an extra segment of the guide. Can Awakening Mystic grind well, and is she better than Succession? As of now, Awakening is a lot better than Succession since she got buffed. Into the PvE scene, Awakening is above viable, approaching optimal even gameplay on some spots. She is not Succession Wusa-like broken however, so please keep that in mind. She is simply really strong, and you won't struggle with achieving above good silver and wherever you grind. With that said, guys, this is the end of the guide. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. I hope I have earned your subscription. Please do hit that subscribe button, however, because I have lots of things coming your way. Thank you so much once more for watching. I love you to death, and I'll see you soon.